Well, is the escape room just another Saw knockoff, or does it do anything new? Stick around and hear our thoughts. I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. We're doing this review format again a little differently. I've been spending time with my boys a little bit as they're on fall break this week, and this time I'm joined by my younger son Titus, who will be 11 at the end of the month, and we just watched Escape Room 2019, not to be confused with Escape Room 2017, which is a different low-budget movie. The 2019 movie seems to be the beginning, I think they're hoping, of a franchise, and a sequel did release in 2021. Let me read the synopsis first, and then I'll get into our thoughts. The synopsis on IMDb reads, 6 strangers are given mysterious black boxes with tickets to an immersive escape room for a chance to win tons of money. Being locked in several rooms with extreme conditions, they discover the secrets behind the escape room and must fight to survive and to find a way out. Now, the reason that Titus is joining me is because he's the one that's been bugging me to watch this movie for a while. He's really into kind of like escape rooms, I guess. Tell me, say again what you told me earlier about kind of like what you know about escape rooms or what interests you about them.
So, it's just like the puzzles that I really just want to figure them out. Like, I've seen a couple of YouTube videos on them, and I just
escape rooms.
Yeah. I just want to test one out for myself. And watching this movie just made me realize, like, well, escape rooms can be a lot more dangerous than I thought.
Well, not real ones,
well, yeah,
hopefully.
Definitely not. But
you also got was it a birthday present, that escape room kind of kit or game or whatever that had all the puzzles?
It was a birthday present.
Okay.
Ultimate escape room something.
Try not to bump the cord there.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's YouTube videos, it's that kind of like escape room kit, and you just generally like puzzle solving. You're really into solving puzzles and stuff.
And it also depends on what kind of puzzle it is. Like, I don't really like paper and pencil puzzles, but if it's like lock and like puzzle, like things like codes and stuff.
Yeah, and
those
like
are more of my type.
And like gadgets or things that you can manipulate and you know, you take apart or look inside of, stuff like that. Yeah, and this movie had a bunch of that. I was not interested in watching this because it looked like, okay, it's a teen-friendly PG-13 version of Saw, basically, that's jumping on the escape room bandwagon, the big fad of escape rooms right now. So I was really not expecting much and ended up enjoying it so much more than I thought I would. Let's talk about the story a little bit. Now, we're going to try and avoid spoilers.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, we're going to try to avoid spoilers, so it's a little bit tricky here. If anything, gets out, then I can always edit it later. But anyway, it has that kind of haunted house structure that you've seen in so many movies where you've got a small group of characters with these very different personalities that are forced to work together in order to survive. Their personalities are clashing up against each other, and one by one, they are whittled away. They die until, very few are left. I found all the characters very relatable. Even the one that, there's always kind of at least one quote-unquote bad character that's in the group in these kinds of movies, and even the one that was bad, and I won't say who that was, I found relatable. I could see their point of view for most of their time in the story, and I thought all the characters were likable pretty much. Did you find that to be true?
Yeah.
Were there any characters that stood out to you as especially funny or interesting?
Maybe...
You can just describe them. You won't remember their name, that's fine, but like...
So, like, I think one of them was... No, it wasn't Sam. Well, it was that one guy who was using a cigar a lot of the time.
Oh, the cigarette, yeah, Ben. Ben, who's in that opening scene.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, you liked him?
Yes.
What did you like about him?
Stressed.
Yeah, he was stressed out, like probably the most of them. He was really down on his luck and just had been through some hard things in life. He was dealing with addictions in his life. I mean, there was things about all these characters that made them vulnerable in some way. They all had experienced really hard things in the past, and so it wasn't like a black and white easy thing to judge them and to hate them, and that can be so easy, especially with one or two characters in these types of movies. They just create these cliche stereotypes, and it just kind of becomes boring after a while. But this one stood out a bit in that each character I cared about, and I also found that the trap rooms were Well, what did you think of the trap rooms? Without describing them, did you think they were interesting, boring?
They were like really intense. Just like it seemed like every kind of clue that they got was like getting them one step closer to the next room, in which it was, but it was also making the room like a lot harder as well.
Yeah, even things that they would do to advance the puzzle they're supposed to solve would make the situation worse at the same time. And so I really found that the intensity of the movie, it kept me leaning forward, surprisingly, through pretty much the whole experience. The trap rooms were diverse and interesting, had light sci-fi elements, not at the level of, say, the movie Cube, if you're familiar with that, but using tech that's, just a bit more advanced than what is currently possible. And the story diverted from the sort of haunted house, as I called it, formula, in ways that weren't drastic, but were enough to keep me guessing, like, oh, are they going to go in a totally drastic and different direction? And so the combination of being a little bit less predictable and the characters that I cared about really had me invested and interested the whole time. Without saying anything about the ending, I'll say that it definitely sets up a sequel, which Titus and I think my oldest Asher, who also watched this one with us, are probably going to watch that as soon as possible, and we'll probably do some kind of a review as well. I don't know if the boys will join me for that or not, but we like this one so much that we are really hungry for the next one, and I really see the potential here for a franchise with the expansiveness and longevity of the Saw films, which after seeing this, I kind of petered out and only watched the first 3 or so Saw films. Watching this, I'm like in the mood for this kind of story just because of how much I enjoyed this one, that I think I might see if I can track down the Saw movies and give them another try. And on a side note, I think this is a good Thanksgiving/Christmas geek movie. It takes place over Thanksgiving break while some college students are away and people, don't have really plans for the Thanksgiving holiday. So if you're ever looking for the elusive Thanksgiving geek movie, this would be a good one. It also has some references to some Christmas stuff, so it kind of, works in that time of life if you're looking for geek-themed movies in those 2 seasons. Time of life, I meant time of year, sorry. Okay, so let's talk about the actors. What did you think? Did you think the actors did a good job, or did you think any of them are like, oh, I don't really believe that actor, it's fake, or what?
I mean, the one room, like, I can't say too much, but there was the one room where Zoe was her name. Mm-hmm. The one room where she just went totally insane.
Yeah.
Trying to get out of there.
Yeah. You thought that was pretty convincing?
Yes.
Yeah, I was feeling that too. I thought she was a really strong performer. Zoe is kind of like the central character of the ensemble and is played by Taylor Russell, who's best known for, I suspect, her role in Lost in Space, the Netflix TV series, which I've been enjoying. And I think that she brings the same vulnerability and insecurity that works for her in her character in that show into this one. It makes her endearing and likable. I did find, and this is more on the writing side, not the performance side, but I did find in the first half of the movie that, like, it was a little too much like she's always going to be the one that finds the solution to the puzzle. She wasn't the only one, but it just seemed like repeatedly there was a moment where they're all trying to scramble to figure things out and she's off by herself thinking and looking, and then she has an aha moment, And I think they leaned on that just one too many times. I think they wanted us to focus on her a little bit more than the other characters, but I think they used that device just maybe 1 or 2 too many times. But yeah, I liked all the characters. I was sad at almost every character death, and I think that's a credit to the performers and what they did with what was on the page, which isn't like crazy and Oscar-worthy and stuff. With this kind of movie, it's mostly just about coming across as tense, and panicked as necessary, or angry and stuff, So these are kind of extreme emotions. There's not a ton of subtlety, but they just had that whatever it takes to make them relatable that I really cared about. Did you have something to say?
Yeah. One more thing about Zoe is, like, every time someone died, she was, like, screaming so hard because, like, she was just mourning them or something.
Yeah, she really cared, and I think that helped us as audience members care, even and kind of like shake us out, even as she's trying, in sometimes trying to shake the others out of their focus on survival and what's next. She's helping us and the other characters remember someone just died, and I think that in some of those moments, her grief and her sadness is so strong that you can it brings a layer of feeling more than just suspense into the viewing experience. At least for us, it did. What did you think of the sets? And by that I mean basically the rooms that they were in. Without describing them, what did you think?
So, within the first room, you could kind of see the vents already looking a little bit suspicious.
Okay.
And in the fourth room, I think it was, with all the beds, I knew it was looking a little too nice. It was being a little too nice to them. And then when the countdown started, I was like, yeah, okay, you guys gotta focus.
Yeah. There was a lot of detail in these sets, and this is kind of going to bleed into the comments on visual effects. It's a largely practical movie. They used CG mostly for background shots, like if they wanted to portray them being in a bigger environment than they actually were in. And that's, well, I don't want to say anything more about that, but I think, that the CG that was used for backgrounds was minimal. The sets and the props are really, they're really the thing that's defining the visual experience in this movie. There's an opening sequence, I'll just say this much about it, that involves a crushing room that really sells the movie well, and is probably one of the strongest parts of the movie, but it's definitely not like, what they spent all their money on and the rest are, lame or whatever. I thought all the rooms were very interesting and diverse, and that's really important for a movie like this that is so based on what those rooms are and the threats that they have. Let's see here. As far as themes, I always try to ask, is there anything of moral, philosophical, or spiritual significance going on in the themes of this thing that might trigger some worthwhile thought or conversation? I don't think there's much potential for that. It's a very in-the-moment kind of experience, at least it was for me, and so it doesn't leave much time for reflecting on any moral issues they might be playing with. As is common, there are basic morals of, don't be selfish, even in intense situations, but the moral statements like that are common to all these kinds of movies, and so at this point I think they're likely going to go unnoticed because of their repetition in movies using this formula, and as I said, because of the very in-the-moment kind of experience that it is for the viewer. Now, we have no idea what your tastes are in movies, but if we were time travelers, we would go back in time and say, what would you say to yourself, like maybe a year ago or 6 weeks ago or something like that about this movie? Would you recommend it to yourself or not?
I would recommend it to myself, but to be careful about some scenes that I might, at the time, think would be a little too violent.
Yeah.
I mean, just like a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah, this was something I had to do some checking on IMDb to look at the Parents Guide to get a blow-by-blow description of some of what was going to be going on in this movie. This did kind of push the envelope a bit in terms of just intensity, not necessarily scares. I mean, I don't think it's... Would you say it's the kind of thing you're likely to have nightmares about, or...?
Definitely not.
Okay, but it's very suspenseful, and I think he had never experienced a movie this suspenseful before.
No.
Would you say that's right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So it's intense, and people get hurt and sometimes die in not great ways, Not in bloody, gory ways. It's PG-13, but still in not pleasant ways. So I would go back in time and say to myself, Peter, you've got to rent this one and watch it with the boys. Do not delay on this. It's probably not one that you're going to, want to own or watch more than once unless it develops into a rich and long-running, satisfying franchise. But it's going to be so much more enjoyable than the cheap teen scare movie you thought it was going to be. And so, yeah, you're going to love it, so will they, and it will leave you guys hungry to watch the sequel as soon as possible. This one is rated PG-13 for terror/perilous action, violence, some suggestive material, and language. And those are all of our thoughts for now on Escape Room 2019. I would love to get your thoughts and reactions in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe, click that bell to stay connected. I want to thank the Spirit Blade Insiders for making this review possible. For info about the benefits of joining, go to patreon.com/SpiritBlade Productions. And then I hope you'll check out our podcast and stay connected to all CGC content over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth.
2 more questions, actually.
Oh.
So, one of the things is, what was your favorite act?
Favorite act? You mean like of the plot?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think that it would be the second or the third, maybe. Yeah, second or third. I think we were kind of getting things going during the first part, the first third, but then like once we hit about 30 to 40 minutes into the movie, I was really into it. Yeah.
And then the second thing is, like, what was your favorite room and why?
Oh gosh. I can't describe it or we'll spoil it. Here's what I'll say. Run away. Spoilers. Run away. I like the upside down room. That was cool. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Give some spoilers now. What was your favorite parts or room or whatever?
Probably like if anything else, it was probably either the hospital room or the ice room, because if there's one thing I learned, hypothermia can really drive you crazy.
Yeah. Was there any character that you were especially sad died?
Probably Daniel.
That's the nerd, right?
Yes.
Totally me too. He was one of us. He was a geek. He was one of our people. It was very sad to see him go.
Snuck a phone into the...
Oh, that's right. He snuck a phone into... Yeah. But I can see maybe why they would want to get rid of him. I mean, you want to care about a character. You know, they want you... I like the older guy. I say older. He's probably about my age or just a little bit older than me.
I think his name is Mike.
Mike, the guy that was a little bit overweight. I've seen him in something else, dang it. I need to look up and see what he's... But he was very likable. Yeah. Yeah, all the characters very likable. Anyway. All right, is that it? Mm-hmm. All right. That's all. Thanks. Bye-bye. Once again this year, I'm raising funds for children in urgent need, this time fundraising for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which provides free treatment for children facing life or death circumstances, and shares its cutting-edge life-saving research with hospitals all over the world. To raise funds, I'm leading members of the Christian Geek Central community in our Game Save 21 event, which you're still welcome to join by following the link in the description below. And once again this year, I'm drawing attention to our team's fundraising by performing a 24-hour marathon of video gaming that I will stream live on youtube.com/ChristianGeekCentral beginning 6 a.m. Pacific Time on Saturday, November 6th. You can donate or get more info by clicking on my fundraising page in the links below, where you'll also find incentives and rewards for doing so. For donating $5 or more, you can choose a topic for me to share my sometimes overly strong opinions on during my live stream. For $10 or more, you get the previous reward and a download code for a free copy of the Spirit Blade Special Edition audio drama. For $20 or more, you get the previous rewards and you can choose a game for me to play during my November 6th live stream. Pick a favorite or torture me with something terrible or rage-inducingly difficult. At $30, you get the previous rewards and you can choose a song for me to sing during my November 6th live stream. Pick an old favorite of yours or just make me humiliate and torture myself with something no one wants to hear. And at $50 or more, you get the previous rewards and a download code for every MP3 product at spiritblade.com. That's an $80 value. On top of that, I've set some fundraising milestones that will unlock strange and unusual happenings as I reach them. At $200, I'll have a free download day for everyone who visits spiritblade.com on November 13th. And as my total goes beyond $200, I'll unlock increasingly more content for that free download day. And depending how far beyond $200 my fundraising goes, during my November 6th live stream, I will show a photo of me you will never be able to unsee, put on a pair of frozen socks and a frozen t-shirt at the same time, shoot water up my nose with a turkey baster, and have my wife Holly play a video game with me for 30 minutes. And if I reach a personal fundraising total of $500 or more, I will do a 2-hour jump scare live stream before the end of the year featuring only the games that terrify me most, including Dead Space and PT. Now, I don't want to do that, but I know you sick people want to see that, so you're going to have to pay money to make it happen. And if I reach my $500 goal by the end of Thursday, October 21st, I will do a 4-hour live stream on Monday night, October 25th, doing my pathetically absolute best to get good at a game in the Souls genre. Now, there are some stipulations and time limits on those rewards and milestones, so quickly follow the link below to my fundraising page for all the details. I hope that you will be a part of helping me and the Christian Geek Central Game Save team do some good for some kids and families who really need it. And then please join me at youtube.com/ChristianGeekCentral for my 24-hour video gaming marathon starting at 6 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday, November 6th. Hope to see you then. Oh my gosh. This is all kinds of wrong.